This is just shocking, Sara.
It is. Good morning, Stephen and Anne. And yes, exactly as you said, here in America, a nation in shock right now, frankly, at the scenes that we saw play out at that Pennsylvania Trump rally in Butler. He'd taken to the stage, former President Trump, and was just starting to address the crowds when those shots rang out, and you saw those very chaotic scenes. As he was then led off the stage by his security detail, but of course very defiant scenes as well. Donald Trump raising his fist in the air, seeming to say fight, fight, as they took him off. And we've now got the information coming in as that very active ongoing investigation continues. That scene in Butler, Pennsylvania, we've heard from the FBI in a press conference just an hour or so ago. They have said it's a very active crime scene. The investigation is very much, of course, ongoing. The shooter now has been named as Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old from Pennsylvania. We heard from the FBI a little earlier before they'd named him, saying there was a little bit of time taken before they could identify him because the shooter wasn't carrying that identification, and that they'd be looking very closely now at what the motive is behind this, and of course, whether any other people were involved in this. But very, very shocking scenes, and you've seen President Biden coming out, reacting to that already. He's traveling back from Delaware earlier. We know he's headed to the White House, saying that there is just no place for this type of violence in America, and calling for the country to be unified around this. I can tell you both that when the news was breaking, I was actually just landing into DC from North Carolina. And so people were getting the breaking news on their phone, and we were sort of seeing the reaction in real time, just everyone responding to this. And actually one of the passengers near us was saying, but he's still fighting, in response to that very defiant image that we have. But the nation will just be absolutely reeling as we continue to get more information. And of course, as you've been discussing there with Mark, one of the huge questions, how was this able to happen?
Absolutely, and it makes you think of all the terrible, successful assassinations that have happened through America's history, and that's what seems so terrible. It could well be like that today. Thankfully, it isn't, and he is well. He's already said on social media that he heard something whiz past his ear and then felt the bullet rip through his skin. Have we heard at all from any of the rest of the family? Have they said anything?
You've had some of the family on social media, again, reiterating the fact that he's going to be fighting. I mean, Donald Trump is at his heart a showman. This is his arena. When he's with the crowds, when you go to a Trump rally, when you meet his supporters, he is in his element. He feeds off that energy. And you really saw him almost immediately responding to the crowd, letting them know that he was okay, showing that mark of defiance. Pretty incredible scenes when you watch it, actually, Anne, that you saw a lot of the people in the crowd in those moments just after the shots have rung out. And we know that one person was killed and 2 people were critically injured. But you had people on their feet cheering for Trump, even in those moments as he was led off the stage. But also as well, amongst the crowd, you have that victim already. You have 2 people who are critically injured right now. A lot of people on the scene saying there were children in the crowds at every sort of area. You could hear the screams from the crowd. So just an absolutely horrifying event to have played out. And as we said, the questions now really focusing on how this was able to happen, and a huge amount of questions for the Secret Service to answer. We haven't got much in the way of information right now. The FBI have come out. They had the state police there with them, answering a couple of those initial questions. But really the main ones about how this was able to happen, we've had eyewitness reports saying that they saw the man climbing up onto the roof. So, there's going to be some very serious questions that need to be answered. And I'd imagine fairly quickly people are going to be looking for those answers as to how this was able to happen.